10.1 Radicals. That symbol is called the square root symbol, and it means what times itself equals that number. Evaluate each root. The square root of 36 equals 6, because 6 times 6 equals 36. The square root of 25 equals 5, because 5 times 5, 25. The square root of negative 9, you would take the square root of 9, which is 3, and leave that negative in the front. Okay, but what about the square root of negative 16? What if the negative's inside? This is not a real number because nothing times itself equals a negative. So the square root of negative 16 we say is not a real number. Okay, what about the square root of a fraction? Take the square root of each number. The square root of 4 over 81 equals 2 over 9 because 2 times 2 is 4 and 9 times 9, 81. The square root of 1 over 49, the square root of 1 is 1, the square root of 49 is 7. Square root means what times itself, what's inside there. Okay, here's two problems that look very similar, but the order you do them is important. The first one, 16 plus 9 is inside the root. It's all inside that whole root, so you do what's inside first. 16 plus 9 is 25. The square root of 25 equals 5. The second problem, the addition is not inside the square root. You just take the square root of each number. You do that first. The square root of 16 equals 4. The square root of 9 equals 3. 4 plus 3 equals 7. Other roots. A little number inside a root means we're looking for something to that power that equals what is inside. Example 1. That's called the cube root of 8. The little 3 inside that root means we want something raised to the third power to equal 8. And that equals 2, because 2 to the third power equals 8. The little 3 means we want something times itself again. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. Example 2. The cube root of 27 equals 3, because 3 cubed is 27. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. Example 3. The cube root of negative 27 equals negative 3, because negative 3 cubed is negative 27. Because a negative times a negative equals a positive, times a negative would equal negative. And 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. You can take the cube root of a negative. Example 4. The square root of 7 squared. Do what's inside there. 7 squared, 7 times 7 is 49. The square root of 49 equals 7. Example 5. The square root of negative 4 squared. Always do what's inside the root first. Negative 4 times negative 4 is 16, and the square root of 16 equals 4. Example 6. What if we have letters? Okay, do each part. The square root of 81 is 9, because 9 times 9. The square root of x to the 4th is x squared, because x squared times x squared, you would add those powers. So 2 plus 2 would be x to the 4th. 9x squared times 9x squared equals 81x to the 4th. Okay, so how can we figure out what the exponent will be? The square root of 25x to the 6th. The square root of 25 is 5. You can take half of 6, which equals 3, to get your power. Okay, why do you do that? Because you're adding the powers when you multiply. Let's look at 5x cubed plus 5x cubed. 5 times 5 is 25. X cubed times x cubed, you would say 3 plus 3 is 6. So you can just take half of the power when you're taking the square root of a letter. Example 8. The square root of 49x to the 8th. The square root of 49 is 7, and take half of 8 is 4. Let's check. 7x to the 4th times 7x to the 4th. 7 times 7, 49. The exponents add. 4 plus 4 is 8. Square root means that times itself equals what's inside. That's the end.